Picture this, Buenos Aires, 1892. A brutal crime scene, a mother and her two children, lifeless. The prime suspect, the housemaid. But there's no concrete proof. This is the scene that investigator Juan Vucetich walked into. With no substantial evidence, the case seemed poised for a dead end. But Vucetich had a trick up his sleeve, a new method of catching criminals that the world had yet to see. He believed that no two people had the same fingerprints, not even identical twins. Vucetich collected fingerprints from the crime scene and compared them with those of the housemaid, a process that was painstaking and revolutionary for its time. The fingerprints matched. This method of identification, which we now know as fingerprint analysis, was born out of necessity and intellect. So the housemaid was convicted, marking the first time in history that fingerprints led to a criminal's downfall. The world of crime investigation changed forever. From ink and paper to high-tech scanners, fingerprint analysis has come a long way since its first use in 1892. The journey of fingerprint analysis is a fascinating tale of innovation and technological advancement, where the pursuit of justice and the quest for truth have been the driving forces. In the early days, fingerprints were collected using simple materials like ink and paper. Law enforcement officers would press a person's fingers into ink, then onto a paper, creating a unique pattern that could be compared with prints found at a crime scene. However, this method had its limitations, such as the risk of smudging and the difficulty of preserving prints for future examination. As the 20th century progressed, technological advancements began to revolutionize the field of fingerprint analysis. The use of lasers and chemicals came into the picture, offering a more precise and less invasive manner of collecting fingerprints. Lasers, like the forensic light source, were used to illuminate fingerprints on surfaces, making them easier to photograph and analyze. Chemicals, such as ninhydrin and cyanoacrylate, were used to develop latent prints, revealing details that the naked eye could not see. The establishment of fingerprint databases marked a significant milestone in the evolution of fingerprint analysis. With this, law enforcement agencies could store, retrieve, and compare fingerprints on a scale like never before. The world's first fingerprint bureau was established in Argentina in 1892, followed by others in England and the United States. As we entered the digital age, fingerprint scanners became commonplace, replacing the traditional ink and paper method. These scanners capture high-resolution images of fingerprints, which can be digitally enhanced and compared with millions of prints in a matter of seconds. As technology advanced, so did the methods of capturing and analyzing fingerprints, paving the way for a more efficient identification system known as AFIS. Enter AFIS, the Automated Fingerprint Identification System, a revolution in fingerprint analysis. This is the system that has shifted the tides in crime solving, making it faster and more efficient. But what exactly is AFIS and how does it work? Well, AFIS is a computerized system capable of reading, classifying, matching, and storing fingerprints for criminal justice agencies. How it works is quite fascinating. When a new fingerprint is entered into the system, AFIS analyzes specific points of interest within the print. It then compares these points to the millions of fingerprint records in the database. But that's not all. AFIS has also played a pivotal role in establishing the DNA database. By linking fingerprints to individuals, it has paved the way for corresponding DNA profiles to be stored alongside. With AFIS, law enforcement agencies could now match fingerprints from a crime scene with millions in the database in mere minutes, a true game changer. So, we've caught our suspect, but how does fingerprint analysis hold up in court? Let's delve into that. In a courtroom, fingerprint analysis is presented as physical evidence. But it's not as simple as showing up with a print and declaring a match. For it to be considered reliable and acceptable, certain standards must be met. The fingerprints found at a crime scene, known as latent prints, must be of sufficient quality. This means they need to be clear and detailed enough to allow for an accurate comparison. The comparison itself, usually performed by a trained forensic expert, involves a meticulous examination of the ridge characteristics of the prints. The expert will then present their findings in court, explaining in detail the process followed and the basis of their conclusion. This transparency allows the court to assess the reliability of the evidence. In the eyes of the law, fingerprint analysis has proven to be an invaluable tool, providing tangible evidence that can be the difference between guilt and innocence.